Hey guys, and welcome to STiKS. My name is Alex, and we're here with a familiar face as per usual. That is obviously my partner in crime, my co-host. He's waving at you now. That is Tommy, and we're also brought with another special guest, someone who's a little bit new to the whole show. So give him a warm welcome. That is STiKS, also known as Chris. How's it going, my friend?
Bonjour, je m'appelle STiKS.
I didn't know you were French.
Wow.
I can be. I can be anything you want me to be.
Are you fluent in French? Is there
No,
something you don't know?
That's all I know. That's all I know.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Range is a bit.
Well, I was really shocked. I was like, oh my god, we're going multilingual or bilingual or whatever.
Well, you know, we are covering the EU side of
Yeah,
it.
he's got a point.
So
he's got a point.
We should probably mix up the languages a little.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, see, look at that.
We.
Rage is just trying to mimic him now.
Yeah. It's like, oh my god, he's amazing. No, but anyway, yeah, obviously, STiKS, who are you? What are you doing on the show? What do you do in and around esports? And any other interesting things about you?
Okay, well, obviously my name's STiKS, or Chris, is dependent. I'm a wannabe EU caster, as you put it so kindly to me. I'm actually on the show because you asked me as well, strangely, after,
It's funny that, isn't it?
It is,
It's funny that.
After all these times he said that I would never come onto the show, here I am. So yeah.
I think he's eating his words right now. I think that's why he's a bit like doesn't know really what to say.
Like, paid me out to be like a horrible person.
No, you're a good lad, but yeah, it's taking your time to get me on. But no, I'm glad to be on here. Talking about the European scene, and yeah, a fun fact about myself. I proposed to my fiance by dumping the ring on her lap.
Wait, please, wait. Can we just go into the story? Wait, hold on. I'm not done with this.
Forget about COD. Tell us the story.
Tell us the story.
Well, it was last May, and we went on holiday to Amsterdam. And I've been planning to propose to her for quite a while. So, obviously, I took the ring across. And whilst we were over there was a fair going on. It was called the Queen's Fair to celebrate the Netherlands Queen or something. I don't know.
Don't even care.
There's only one. That's Elizabeth.
Exactly. I was like, who are you? You're not the royal queen. Get out of here. So we went across, and there's a fair going on. There's a Ferris wheel. I wanted to propose on top of that. So by the time we got round to Friday, the Ferris wheel had been taken down. So I got into a bit of a grumble. I was like, right, you know what, screw it. We'll go for a walk. So we started walking around, trying to find some nice canals and everything, as you do. But with it being so busy, you couldn't walk an inch without bumping into someone. Not only that, but we got lost for an hour and a half. So,
this hasn't really gone to plan so far.
No.
This is like the worst kind of like everything has gone wrong that could go wrong kind of thing.
Yeah.
Basically, it was. So I was fuming. We managed to find our way back to the hotel finally. And when we did, she was like, all right, I'm going to get in the shower. And then once we've done that, we'll go out for some lunch. So I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, in a grub as I was. So while she was in the shower, I was playing with the ring in my hand, just on my phone.
As you do.
Yeah. And then she comes out, and I still had the ring in my hand. So I was like, oh, what am I going to do? So I held the ring in my hand, and she sat down next to me and tried to grab my hand where the ring was.
Oh, no.
So I was like, oh, bloody hell. So I dropped the ring on her lap, and she was like, what's this? And I was like, well, I was going to propose to you on top of the Ferris wheel, but obviously it was getting taken down. I was going to propose to you on a nice quiet canal, but everyone's too nosy. So we doing this or what?
Oh my god! Like, what did she say? What did she say?
She said no, so now it's a new one. No, I'm joking.
No, I bet she said yes, but like, what did she like? Did she say like? Did you explain to like how everything had gone wrong? Like, what did she say to it?
Like, her immediate reaction was like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "I'm serious. I'm not just gonna ask you out of like spur of the moment. Like, I've been planning this for months." And she's like, "Oh my god, yeah." Oh, I just started tearing up as you do, and I was like,
That's a nice ending.
I was like, yeah, wonderful. So there, we enjoyed the rest of our holiday, and that was that.
Oh.
I am genuinely speechless.
Yeah, I'm.
That sounds extremely awkward.
Yeah.
It was.
Also, it had a happy ending.
I mean,
it would have been even worse if she like slapped you and then like.
Yeah. At least you got what you wanted at the end. At least it wasn't a complete disaster, shall we say? Yeah, that's a nice kind of intro to the show.
I was like, you know, we intended for a minute intro, but you just went on a tangent.
For you aspiring kind of, you know, wanting to propose to your wife, to your going to be wife, you know, take a leaf out of Stealth's book.
And basically just mess it up.
Yeah, they'll still say yes. Don't go out and spend loads of money. Just ask them.
Just like throw the ring at them. Like hope it lands on the lap and be like, take the hit. But anyway,
should we get on with it?
Yeah, that's it. We haven't really touched on anything Call of Duty related now. Stealth, you said you're a caster. So that kind of means that you have a little bit of a different view on things. Obviously, myself being in the same boat, being a caster, we all have like a little bit of an opinionated game. So, what do you think of Call of Duty in general? What do you think of Advanced Warfare? Obviously, the difference from previous title to this title. How do you think the game is at the moment, and how do you think it's going to develop in the future? Obviously, with the next title and so on and so forth.
It's an interesting one. Obviously, you look at the previous Call of Duties, and nothing has ever had anything like the Advanced Warfare has with the exo abilities, and it's added something much more interesting to, you know, casting. So it hasn't been as fast-paced for a very long time as this. It's very difficult to keep up with what's going on, but at the same time, it really whittles it down to who is actually decent at the game, because the reaction time has to be on point to be able to do anything. So, from my perspective, it's really great to see. In regards to the future of Call of Duty, it won't be happening again.
You don't think Sledgehammer Games' next title will have exos, or, you know, like Infinity Ward obviously maybe have exo abilities? Do you not think?
No, Sledgehammer possibly, but the other two companies that will be taking over the reins will not. It'll be a Sledgehammer only thing, and even if they did, it'll be 3 years between, so it'll be like switching up between, you know, playing as your standard soldier to jumping and boosting around the place as a joke.
Do you not think, though, that obviously we've seen Sledgehammer Games implement zombies that's come obviously over from Treyarch? Do you not think potentially we could see the same vice versa?
I hope not.
Okay. Do you not like the fast pace with exo abilities? Do you not like it?
I like it.
You like it, yeah.
It's a one-off in my eyes.
Okay.
I think I could put up with it year on year.
Casting it for you must be just, yeah.
It's difficult, but it's interesting at the same time. I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's different, so.
Exactly.
Yeah. Tell me, what's your thoughts on the matter? Obviously, you went into casting a little bit. I was going to kind of say something, but never mind. I restrained myself.
Sorry, I apologise.
Tell me, off you go.
My thoughts on Advanced Warfare, as you said, yeah, it's very fast paced. It's exciting to watch, but as you said as well, I think it's sometimes very hard to track what is happening. You know, if we're trying to appeal to kind of a new viewer, you know, someone from another esport or just a new viewer in general, I think it's very hard sometimes for them to get into it because it's so fast paced. You know, if you don't understand all the kind of different mechanics and different things that are going on and the game modes and whatnot, it's very hard to kind of follow. But you know, I'm so far enjoying it. As you say, it's something different, but I think the big dilemma is the fact that obviously with the next Call of Duty titles coming out and we're only, you know, reliant on 1 year life cycles, it means that potentially we're going to go just straight back to what we had, and this is just going to be a one-off, and it's going to seem kind of stupid in a way.
Yeah, agree. One thing I also want to touch on about, obviously, the EU community being so tight-knit as it is, Gfinity is kind of being the leading. It's basically the MLG equivalent. So there was actually a news article. I sent it over to you guys from I think it's like an independent website called City AM, and it's basically, from what I've seen on the website, I've never really heard much about them, but they talk about, you know, stocks within London and so on and so forth, and they're kind of talking about the Gfinity stock, because in case you didn't know, Gfinity went public, what meant that anyone can buy a proportion into the company and so on and so forth. So that was the thing what happened, and this article is basically just explaining the profits, what they haven't made, so to speak, and the amount of money they've made and so on and so forth. It's really interesting to get an insight into basically the background and kind of the financial situation of Gfinity. And obviously this isn't official numbers. I mean, it's all speculated, wherever their source is from. It has the potential to be slightly wrong, so take it with a pinch of salt. But
yeah,
I believe they actually raised 3.5 million on the open market, was quite a big number. Tommy, what's your thoughts on that? Obviously, the fact that people are buying into this basically Gfinity and supporting the EU esports.
I mean, I personally think it's just amazing. Like, to think that, you know, we've got to the point where Gfinity is now, as you say, like a public organisation or whatever, and they're on the stock market. Therefore, you can buy shares and whatnot. And the fact that they're looking at their revenue. It's grown by 791%. It's like ridiculous. I think people are, on the business side of things, are realizing that esports is something that is worth investing in, and that's like what we need. I was watching a video from, I think, Clayster yesterday, and he talked about how, like, even if MWG pull out, Activision pull out everything of their support and everything, it's so entertaining, someone will, latch onto it, kind of thing. And I think just it's something that, people are passionate about, therefore it's worth investing in.
And then obviously, Stealth, what's your opinions on the matter as well? Do you have any comments to say on the matter?
No, I agree with Tommy there. It's I think that if everyone did pull out, that I think there's enough people involved with esports at the minute, not just the bigger companies, that would definitely throw their own money towards it. I, for one, would possibly quite honestly do it as well. But with regards to this whole Gfinity thing as well, I think it's great that it's public, because it also allows the likes of other companies, like such smaller companies who possibly want to find revenue into esports, their opportunity, and it can only build on the growth of Gfinity and EU esports as a whole.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I haven't actually seen Clay's video, so I can't really talk much about that. But I kind of agree what you mean. It's encouraging to see that people, maybe wealthy investors, maybe wealthy investors who aren't really familiar with esports, they're looking at the figures, obviously looking where to invest their money, and they're seeing I think it's 741 or whatever percentage you said. They're seeing that, I mean, I thought percentages could only go up to 100%, but if a percentage is 700, then that means it's good. So
nothing on finance.
You've got to be investing somewhere along the lines. If it's that high.
That's what it's gone from. It says the revenue was originally 16,000. It's gone up to 145,000. Just to put that in perspective. So we're not talking
wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, it's from one time a year ago to the same time this year, and we're not talking, it's gone up from £100 to £1,700. We're talking 16 grand to 145 grand. What is just mind blowing figures.
Well, it's a bit of growth. I'll give them that. It's quite impressive. But yeah, exactly. Those figures are really, really impressive. It's good to see that. With it being a public company, some of these figures we can't really see from a company like MLG, so we can't really assess the growth in that sector. So it's good to see that we're being given this information. Again, it might not be 100% accurate, but it seems pretty legitimate. And I believe on the website as well, they're talking about how they had about, I think it was 8.7 million online viewers. So
that's just Gfinity 3, I think.
That's just mind blowing. And I believe as well they haven't really been making a profit. What's kind of the one question mark, they invested this money into it. They had 3.5 million raised on the stock market. So the fact that I believe they're making a 1.4 million loss this year, that's something what isn't really looking the best. Stealth, what's your opinions on obviously Gfinity making a 1.4 million loss on this website?
Well, it was going to happen, if I'm honest. They put a lot of money into themselves. And it was a bit of a slow start, to be honest. But obviously, with the announcement of them bringing in so many more events, now being partnered up with View Cinemas, it's only going to be, it's going to grow that instead of decreasing, in my eyes. If by this time next year they do record another loss and something needs to be changed, but at the minute, I can't really fault for what they're doing.
Tommy?
I totally agree. I mean, I think everyone kind of knows, especially like org owners and stuff. I think Joel, who was on last week, will agree to this. Esports is something that you have to invest a lot of money and go in for the long run before you get a return. You don't see some of these organizations just go in and straight away hit the big time. I think it's the same with the likes of Gfinity who run these events. They're in it for the long run. In the long run, they will make a profit. At the end of the day, I like the fact that Gfinity have esports at their heart. They don't appear, at least from my standpoint, to be trying to just going after money. The people who are behind Gfinity are very passionate about esports, and that's just what I love about the organization.
Yeah, again, so what I want to touch on as well, I've had experience of, the behind the scenes of managing an organization, and I kind of know what goes into it. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that if you're an organization setting up, you have to pay for jerseys, you have to pay for designs, you have to pay for so on and so forth, and then tickets for venues. So I'm pretty certain at this stage, most org management aren't expecting a profit within the first year. And if they are,
That's big expectations.
Yeah,
like, unless
you're
not like world champions, not happening.
Well, I mean, obviously, if I'm on the team, then you should be expecting like, what was it, 741% growth or whatever?
You should be expecting like bottom finishing.
Yeah.
Gonna be. I'm sorry, Alex. You've gone to casting. Just let it go. Your time playing has gone. Okay.
There's a reason we're casters, Alex. Okay. Okay.
I want to deny it, but I can't deny it. That's the thing. It's like I want to be like, no, I'm the best. Like 1v1 me, but I know like I can't because I do suck. Anyway, going on from my depressing like 5 seconds there. Yeah, kind of wasn't talking about it. You mentioned the View Cinema situation, Stealth. Tommy, do you know anything more about the situation about the View Cinema partnership with Gfinity?
So, from what I understand, is obviously the Gfinity Arena is going to be within the View Cinema in Fulham, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. And I think they've basically bought one of the actual cinema theatres where they're obviously it's going to be, I think it's going to be roughly the same kind of venue style we've seen in the past from Gfinity. The EU regionals, I think it's going to look pretty similar to that, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really know too much details about it. All I know is obviously they partnered up. I'm not sure if Gfinity actually like own it or if they're just in partnership or whatever, but just in general, it's massive for esports having like a purpose-built kind of arena that they're going to be able to week after week. I think from starting, if it's not already started, it's starting in the next couple of weeks. Every week there's going to be a different esports title in there, and it's just going to like help grow esports in the UK and in the EU just in general, I think.
All right, Stealth, what's your opinions on the basically Gfinity? Yeah, I think it's the first esports like arena in London or in the UK.
Yeah.
So, what's your thoughts on that?
It's amazing. As soon as I heard the announcement, I was extremely excited. Just not as just a person, but as an esports fan and enthusiast. It will now just grow, not just Call of Duty, but CS:GO that's being there this weekend.
Yeah.
Hearthstone, League of Legends, you name it, they will be advertising it and putting it out there for the public to just come along and watch. So it's going to be an absolutely incredible opportunity for everyone to just grow as a unit.
Yeah, I mean, it's something from what I'm aware, it's kind of a thing what's becoming a very familiar sight in some of the hubs of esports. I think there's quite a few of them in like China, a few of them in Japan, where there's actually esports arenas. And obviously MLG recently announced that they're going to be having one. Well, they have one. I believe it's in Ohio. And now
Columbus.
And now, obviously, I think they actually announced. I think there was a web release or something where they're announcing one in China. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I know there's definitely blueprints and stuff tweeted about that. So it's nice to see that organizations are making the next step, going from being an online entity to actually having a physical building, MLG HQ, Gfinity HQ sort of thing, a building. And it really shows like the growth where the whole scene in general has gone. I think Gfinity acquiring this cinema. I don't know how it works, as you say, Tommy. I don't know whether it's.
I think from what I've seen, it's just like just one cinema room kind of where they would screen whatever. But either way, it's like it's going to be purpose built for esports, so it's going to just be amazing.
Well, yeah, I mean, one thing you got to really look at is the kind of the short history of Gfinity is they've always been quite good at having. I mean, obviously G3 is a bit of an example, but if you look at G1 and G2, they wasn't the biggest venues ever. There was, I believe G1 was like both of them was like kind of studios. I think G1 was like in a high-rise apartment.
It looked it, didn't it?
So, I can imagine that not to be the biggest venue in the world, especially not like an Olympic stadium as it was with G3. So they definitely have the experience. If you look at Key Regionals, what was just about a month ago, I think it might have been a little bit less than that. That was in a theatre. Theatres and cinemas, pretty similar layout. It seems like, they've done their research. They said, we're going to do it in the Royal Opera House. We're going to get a little bit more experience of having it in that certain situation. And it should be interesting to see how it looks. I mean, there's pictures tweeted out. I think Martin Wyatt have tweeted some out before. I've seen Gfinity tweet out as well. Some of the pictures look incredible. Have you two managed to see any of those pictures?
I haven't, actually.
Oh, you may have to link me those ones.
Okay, well,
we're trying to help.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. I appreciate.
I don't know where you've seen these pictures, but no. But I mean, as you say, like like with Gfinity, it's going to be a good job, and they, production for them has been always pretty good. Goalie may disagree with that, but just in general, they know what they're doing. That's I think the main thing. As you say, using the Royal Opera House is kind of a trial run, shall we say, of what it's going to be like at the Gfinity Arena. It just helps them kind of get knuckled down on like the production and everything like that, just to make sure the viewing experience is obviously the best, because that's the main thing. The viewing experience has to be there. It's very evident. MLG have obviously stepped up their game, so other organisations, etc., and it's showing off, and just the esports fans in general are enjoying it.
Yeah, and also mentioned about stepping up their production value. They recently obviously announced that Paul Schallner, after he's done with ESL, is going to be moving over as, I believe it's like the head of content and media or something. I think that's the exact title. So seeing someone like him who has so much experience in esports, I think he has over 10 years experience within esports, to have him basically running it, it can only mean good things. And as you say, seeing them step up the production value is really something that needs to be improved, because you look back 2 years ago, you look back a year ago, the production value of MLG, the production value of Gfinity, production value of all these other events it wasn't the best. I'm going to be honest. No. It wasn't the best.
It was okay, but it could have always been better.
Exactly. I mean, Stealth, obviously, you being in the situation where you've casted at events and casted online, how important is it that production value is as high as possible?
Oh, absolutely vital, because most of your viewers aren't going to be at the event. They're going to be watching it via their devices, their computer, their Xboxes or iPads and everything. So they're going to need the production value to be absolutely T1, even if it is just through a live stream. Because if anything can go wrong, they will stop to lose their viewers massively. I saw it once where I was at an event, and there were problems with the whole live stream itself. And
Rage just nodding.
I was like thinking about it. I was like, oh yeah, yeah.
I was at that event. I was casting at that event.
Was I there? Yeah, of course I was there. Carry on.
We went from quite a high viewing. I think it was 1,700 viewers at one point, and it went straight down to 600. And that just shows how massively important it is for the production to be on point. Because if it does go wrong, you're going to lose that viewership. And what if a potential sponsor is watching? You're going to lose money at the same time.
That's very true, yeah.
And obviously, Tommy, you're kind of at the opposite end, as in, I don't believe you've actually been to an event. So you're kind of the person who's used to sitting in front of the computer screen, sitting in front of the phone, watching the games. So
I know that too well
for you.
I think the event stuff you were referring to was AM2 Pro, if I'm not mistaken.
I didn't want to drop any names.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, I'll take AM2 Pro as an example for all the EU. He's just clapping. The problem I had with it, the production was superb. There was it was superb. But obviously, the problem was the stream kept cutting out or going offline or whatever, and it made I think throughout the day I saw them saying the stream was live at least 10 times or something. And I mean, I don't know if it was their fault or whatever, but at the end of the day, it will affect them as in terms of viewership and stuff. And if the stream just keeps going down and stuff, it's just gonna deter all the fans away, because they're going to be like, oh, I can't be bothered because I'm going to come back and it's going to go down in 5 minutes. So from that instance, production needs to be on point. A lot of things, especially across Reddit, have been kind of asked for. We've asked for vetoes and stuff, but now we don't really see vetoes anymore. Player cams, more statistics used and stuff like that. So, I think if other organisations kind of follow the way MLG are going, I think they'll have no problem whatsoever.
I believe the event what you was actually referring to I mean, obviously you'll be used to it because of the stream, but I believe some of the casters were quite good at that event. But
oh really?
Moving on.
Well, not any 6'5" casters. I don't know any of them that were good.
Yeah, moving on. Talking about production. Last night, as I'm recording this video, the ESR was actually live streaming the TCM games. Obviously, if you didn't know, TCM kind of made the trip over from sunny England to not quite as sunny America. Something maybe, and they moved to North Carolina. Obviously, that is the location of the MV House. You're staying at the MV House, I believe, up until Champ. So that's something I'm going to touch on before. But before we do that, Tommy, I believe you watched some of the league games.
I watched
Nation and Gaming. So
yeah,
some tough opposition. playing playing
not the
the
best
team in the league.
I mean,
playing Nation.
Yeah,
Team 5 Rings. It's a very welcoming way for the Americans to be that's
the way all teams should be welcomed. Yeah, just that's the way they should. I think I watched most of the Optic Nation series, and then I watched just the first couple of matches against Optic Gaming. And if I'm honest with you, they did very, very well in the hardpoint versus both Optic Nation and Optic Gaming. You know, there's just a couple of kind of silly rotations and kind of, you know, clutch kills that they didn't get. That meant they obviously didn't end up winning them, especially against Optic Nation, not so much against Optic Gaming. S&D, something probably to work on. Obviously, it's very evident that the play style of North American teams is a little bit different to EU. I know that Optic Gaming especially, they were using the fact that they have good gun skill against TCM. I think it was on Biolab S&D, if I'm not mistaken, and a lot of the times you would see them just force gunfights, because obviously with that much gun skill on that team and talent, you know, they're not likely to lose. But I mean, they still did force, I think, a round 11 against Optic Gaming was pretty good, you know, and they did all right in the hard point. And then again against Optic Nation, they did all right, but it's just, you know, they need to tidy things up, I would say, you know. But they're definitely not, you know, I definitely still think, you know, after seeing them in just their first couple of league matches, I definitely still think they have the potential to qualify for the playoffs.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised because, you know, in case you didn't watch STiKS EU, me and Tommy kind of predicted that there was going to be around mid-table 8th to 6th sort of situation. And I was honestly expecting game modes like Hardpoint and game modes like Search and Destroy, because, I mean, Uplink, let's be honest, Europeans can't play Uplink, you know. It's something about us not being able to throw or something, we just can't do it. So Search and Destroy was kind of the thing where I was thinking when TCM was coming over, that's going to be the biggest difference, because if you look at varying gameplays, Search and Destroy, be it America, be it Europeans, is usually the game mode what's such a hard-hitting difference that I expected them, you know, to kind of win a few games there and, you know, take a respawn. I mean, a lot of people kind of underestimated. I know on Twitter kind of blew up here, especially in the American scene, when Jerd was just going off left, right, and center, and everyone was like, "Who's this Jerd person? Who's Jerd? Who's Jerd?" Like,
everyone was like, "King Jerd? No, it's King Scum. No, we're not having this." Everyone was like going, I was just like, "No, you just don't understand." Just, and then they saw him like, "Oh, I see.
Oh, he's pretty good. Yeah, this
I
guy's
see."
pretty good. Stealth, I'm not sure whether you managed to watch the league games or not. Did you? And if you did, what's your opinions on how TCM performed within their first 2 games?
I didn't actually manage to catch them. I wanted to, but I had to get up quite early for work the next day, so it was a little bit. The time difference is a pain in my backside.
Yeah, it is.
But from what I heard was a lot of you know, what actually was a little bit surprising and not surprising at the same time is that a lot of the EU side of things were kind of slagging off TCM right from the start. What people need to understand is TCM have, you know, been one of the top 2 European teams for God knows how long now.
Without a doubt, without a doubt.
Now, for them to go across to United States and play against, you know, arguably the top 8 in the world at the minute, it's going to be very difficult for them to even do anything against them, let alone it being their first games in the league. But what I'm saying, I agree with you guys with you saying that they're going to finish about 6th to 8th. I said that they're going to finish 8th on this one, just because it's the first season, and it's going to be difficult for them to adjust, because they're going to have to mix up their strategies, and, you know, they're going to have to learn the opposition a lot more than they have to learn the opposition here. But alongside that, you know, it's difficult. It will be. Just give them time, and they'll start to prove people wrong.
Yeah, I think the majority. Yeah, I totally agree with you when you say, like, oh, they've all been slated by all the NA fans and stuff. But yeah, I think a lot of people kind of just expect results straight away, and if not, they're just like, no, they're rubbish. But obviously, I think, you know, with the roster they've got, they have a lot of potential, and the biggest thing really is losing is learning. You know, it doesn't matter if they're losing; they will learn so much from playing against the top teams, as you say. You know that. You know, it's going to be phenomenal for them. By champs, I know it's only, you know, in a week and a bit, but they're going to learn so much. Like, I think, who was it? When Millennium were down in their team house, someone said, like, they learned so much just from it. Yeah, from it being in that team house just for a couple of weeks.
That was Jake.
Then, well, either way, like, they said they learned so much just from being in that team house than they had, like, pretty much throughout the whole of Advanced Warfare. And that's exactly the same, you know. Them being in a team house, chemistry is going to be on point. And also playing against North American teams, you know, potentially the best teams in the world. They're just going to learn so much. It doesn't matter if they're losing. They have to look at it as if, though, you know, what are we doing wrong and what are they doing right and whatnot, and how can we play like they're playing to counter their play style and whatnot. So I think either way, even if they're losing, they're still getting better. I think that's the biggest thing.
I think it was a great move for them to go across just before champs as well, because now they're going to get a first-hand look at their opposition.
Yeah.
They know what they're going to have to do inside out now. It's going to be very, very, very good. I'm surprised they didn't think about doing this maybe last year, or even I'm surprised Epsilon didn't even think about doing it.
It's a big investment though, because I think it's rumored that it's a five-figure number that they did actually pay to get Aware's spot. I think it was. So you know, it's a big move, and obviously if they don't have that money, they don't have that money. But I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, I've kind of made some little notes as you two was kind of having a conversation. I was making like furious notes in front of me, just like talk about this. But
hold on.
first,
you're making notes.
Oh dear. Rage, do continue. What doodlings have you made?
I've drawn a stick man, a star, a heart with an arrow through it.
Have you got to the colouring in yet?
No, I was going to get some of my felt tips down here, what I got for Christmas, but...
you made me a fan. Yeah, that's what I wanted.
But yeah, one thing what you did mention is how them going earlier before champs means that they're going to have practice, and that's what I want to talk about, is the fact that we haven't seen Aware go over. We haven't seen... Well, we see that situation when you look at the UK teams what are qualified. You've got Aware, you've got Infused, you've got TCM, you've got Epsilon. And to be honest, at this stage, everyone's thinking Infused are out, you know. They've got to that stage where they lost Reedy, they had to pick up their coach.
Yeah.
No one's expecting them to, you know, do the best, let's be honest. You know, it's kind of bad to say because the players on that team are such a good quality. The fact they're left in that situation isn't really going to help them. And then you look at Aware, who I have a feeling could be a dark horse, but they're not scrimming the top teams because the top teams, TCM, they've gone over to America, so they're not going to be able to scrim them. I believe Epsilon, from what I've seen on Twitter, I believe they're either going to America or got something planned. I'm unsure. I could be wrong. Don't quote me.
I think you are right, though. They did tweet out or something I remember saying that they would go over. We don't know where, but I mean, there's rumours that they could potentially be at the Optic House because obviously Optic are going to have a LAN. So, and with Swanee, you know, it just seems kind of like it would happen, but we don't know. We're just kind of speculating here.
Well, yeah, I did see Madcat tweet out earlier that he was going to America in a week.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so that could be.
It makes sense for it to happen.
It does, but you know, it'll be announced when it's announced, kind of thing. So
I know, like some people, especially Europeans, I know, like obviously this is all speculation, but I know, for example, like, you know, players need to beat jet lag, casters need to beat jet lag, so I imagine they'll fly over, you know, 2-3 days early, maximum, and so the fact that TCM, they're not going to have jet lag because they're in the America now. They're going to be able to adjust their body to, they're able to adjust their body clock to it. So I feel as if that's going to be quite important. I also feel as if the fact that they're not playing some teams in the UK who and in Europe who, you know, probably aren't the best. They're playing teams like, I mean, their first game in the league, they played Optic Nation and Optic Gaming. Optic Gaming, arguably, without doubt, pretty much the best team.
Yeah, going into champs
right now.
At least. Yeah.
And then Optic Nation, the best team collectively, statistically as well, from World Championships, obviously having 5 rings on them. What's just
I mean, they placed top 4 NA regionals as well. So I mean, you know, technically, you know, they're well inside the top 8 as well. So
well, exactly. I mean, if you would either prefer to scrim against Epsilon and Aware or Optic Nation and Optic Gaming,
you may lose
before champs.
You may lose everything, but you're going to learn so much just from playing them. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's one of the things. What's really important. What's kind of being overlooked as well is the fact that we're a week before they're not playing against these basically not considered to be the best teams in the world. They're obviously going to be playing against. Oh, I say the best teams in the world is in the UK because, you know, if you're in the UK, they're going to be playing against Epsilons, your Awares, your Infused, and everyone else who comes in, you know, GB matches, who comes in Gfinity Cups and so on and so forth. Or you can play in the best league in the world, playing against top peoples, and I believe they're actually playing like Prof and OG tonight. So it's that's
in 6 hours' time.
Well, exactly 6 hours' time they're going to be playing against Prof and OG. Again, you look at those rosters, you look at the players. It's a lot more practice. It's a lot better practice than what they would be getting in the UK. So
I mean, you get as good as the practice you're practicing against. If you're practicing always against the same team, you're never going to get better than them teams. So if you up the kind of standard of you're practicing against, you know, you're going to just generally improve in it. So it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be something that's really important. I personally haven't really experienced jet lag, obviously. I have never had the chance to go to America yet.
I shed a tear for you.
But yeah, one thing I also want to touch on is a little bit of roster mania as well, because during this whole champ situation, Exertus actually announced out of nowhere that they're going to have a European team. This is very quietly done on the side.
Yeah, it's very subtle.
Exactly, it was quite subtle as well. You know, Exertion, if you don't know, they have
we're just going to put a team there. We're just going to put a team there.
They have an AA team, and they actually announced a European team of Melon and Quicker Than You. Obviously, 2 people are actually going to be going to America for the World Champs underneath Infused, and then Luke and Rated, who obviously part of that Intensity lineup, who didn't quite make it.
Yeah,
because of that uplink.
Still, they did very well to get to EU regionals.
Lewis,
but
wow, sorry.
Where'd you get Luke from? Do you know? Is there something you're not telling us? Is this?
No, it's Lewis.
Next, you'll tell us that you're on the roster. I'll be like, wait, what?
I am on the roster. Surprise!
I swear to God, if Alex ever gets onto a Call of Duty roster, like a pro Call of Duty, I'm giving up on life. I'll be done. I will step down from casting.
I will sell.
Never mind, I'm not going to go there. Stealth, what's your opinions on that roster? What's your opinions on how they're going to bring to the table, obviously going into the Gfinity Open, and how do you think the Infused experience at Champs, you know, they're not expecting the greatest placement. Do you reckon that's going to psychologically affect Melon and Quicker, or in a positive or negative way?
Honestly, I only heard about them teaming today. I think it was only about 20 hours ago that actually got released, I think, or 22 hours ago, so it was, you know, within the day. And the first time I saw it, I was ecstatic with it. It's a very good pickup for Exertus, you know, with Melon being the player he is. He's a hell of a good player. So it's going to be exceptionally good. Lewis as well, and Rated. But, you know, the man that I want to pick out in there is Quicker. I've actually picked him to be one to look out for at COD Champs, because this is going to be his first outing there. And obviously, for those of you who know who he is, he's come from the Lightning Pandas. And he's proved that this game, he's actually a really good player. And he did exceptionally well in the EU Champs, and he was unlucky not to have made it. So I'm expecting big things to come from him.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me, what's your opinions on this one?
I mean, I think this roster does have potential. The thing I dislike, though, is the same with Gataga, with Infused, whatever. The thing I don't like is the fact that they're making all these roster changes prior to COD Champs. Obviously, as you say, Raid and Quicker are on the Infused lineup. Now, I know, obviously, with all the drama, Reedy's not on the lineup for Champs, and they've got their coaching, so their chances of doing, you know, as well are probably, you know, slashed a bit. But I just feel like they should have waited till after Champs, because Rated and Quicker are just going to want to, like, kind of, like, they're going to be torn between, like, 2 teams, if you will. And it's the same with Gataga. Gataga's gone to Millennium. You know, he's playing with Vitality for COD Champs. He's playing with Millennium for ESWC. It's just like, I would have, you know, I would have thought it'd be better just to wait. You know, it's 2 weeks away. Like, announce it after, you know, announce it as soon as they get knocked out. Just, you know, I just think they should have waited.
What, like literally a second after they get knocked out?
Yeah, like, oh,
surprise! I'm in a new team.
They've got the tweet on ready. They've got it saved in their drafts, and as soon as it goes like bam,
just have it saved for like months on end. Just like, can I tweet it? Can I tweet it?
Or he's on main stage and he just like whips up the Millennium jersey. Like, he pulls up his Vitality jersey. He's got the Millennium jersey.
Post-match interview, and he's just like. Yeah, I feel like they should have just waited, because it just means that, you know, there's players that are on 2 rosters at one time, and, you know, it's unfair for the, you know, the likes of the players that are still on Infused. I know, like, obviously Dominite's obviously going with he's staying on Infused, if I'm not mistaken, with Reedy. So there's so many complications, because you've got like players that are on like 2 rosters at once, and I feel like they should just wait till COD Champs is out of the way. But, you know, that's just my opinion.
I think it's like saying, you know, why would you make rosters? It's kind of the situation with the NA team as well, as in, why are you having 2 rosters for Champs, and why are you having 2 rosters for the league, when it's just going to divert your attention? You're going to be 50-50 as in Champs or league. Obviously, Champs is a little bit more important. I'm sure every single pro will be prioritizing Champs.
That's why I don't understand why they've done it.
But yeah, exactly. The Infused situation is a little bit different, because Infused aren't going to be going to Champs expecting the greatest placement in the world. I mean, to be honest, if I was them just getting out of group stages, I'll see that as winning the $1 million. because it's like, this situation, I mean, I'm sorry, Infused. If any of you are watching this, I really do apologize. But, you know, I'd be genuinely surprised. And I mean that as in, I want you to do well. I'm not saying I don't want you to do well, but...
we want all EU teams to do well.
Exactly. I believe we're actually going to be going to questions from Twitter. We kind of lately tweeted it out, like asked his questions.
We have a couple of good ones though.
Yeah, we was having a little bit of technical issues, meaning that we was kind of frantically typing. Well, Goldie was frantically typing. I was just sitting here, none of my business.
Just hands up.
None of my business, What am I doing here? But yeah, so it was kind of lately done. Finally was tweeted out, and I believe the first question. Tommy, do you have the first question in front of you?
Yes, I do. Let me just check. Yeah, it's coming in from Mr. Benson himself, who is he's apparently a caster. I've been told, but he basically wants to know what's the top placing EU teams at Champs, or what is the top placing EU team at Champs? Sorry, I worded that a bit wrong. And where do they place?
STiKS, do you want to do it first?
That's a tricky one, right? So, with how it was before TCM went across, I was going to say Epsilon were going to be the top place in the EU team, and I was going to say that they're going to place top 12. Really, I don't see them really breaking, into the top 8. I would love for them to do that, but I don't see it at the minute. The caliber of players in the North America is just too good. But with TCM going across and getting all this experience and all this knowledge from these playing this season, I think that they're gonna break the top 8. So I'm gonna say TCM are going to be the top place in the EU team, and they're going to place top 8.
Do you want to start on Cuddy's score? Because I'm trying to find. Do you want to answer the question?
So, you think TCM will place highest and top 8? Okay, interesting. I think for me, it's hard to say at the moment. I can definitely see that happening, but it's all about like how good practice they do get with this next, week or so. Them being at the Envy house, obviously they're going to pre-LAN with Envy. That's going to be massive because, even though Envy have been struggling a bit in the league, I think they're like 1-7 or something. I honestly feel like, that's really good, solid practice for them. Envy are a solid team, not one to be reckoned with. So from that instance, I can see that it all really, it's going to be TCM or Epsilon, I'll put it that way. But it all, I think, comes down to how good practice TCM get. At the moment, though, if things don't change, I've got to go with Epsilon and... I'm going to go top 6. I'm going to go 6th.
Well, boof. Wow. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a bit bold, but... Yeah.
I'm liking it, because, my answer is going to be even more bold. Because, I'm running down the streets with the EU flag, Are
you going, like, Epsilon to place 2nd?
First. No, but in all seriousness, let me just refresh the question. What is the top placing EU team at Champs, and where do they place? Honestly, just out of a thing, as much as I support Epsilon, I think they're a fantastic team. I just feel as if, as Stealth said, the fact that TCM went there a little bit earlier means they're going to be practicing against some of the top teams. That's going to have an edge, and I feel as if TCM might outplace Epsilon. I mean, if you look at past tournaments, obviously on previous titles, TCM have always been better overseas than Epsilon.
That's true.
What the Epsilon have got at the minute, I mean, Swanee's...
I know, that's what I'm thinking.
Do you not think the pre-LAN they're going to potentially have at Optic Gaming and Optic Nation, do you not think that will maybe stead them a better chance?
I don't think it's going to be enough. It's too short in too short a time. It's not enough to go on in that short time, to be honest. They would have had to double what TCM did to be able to get that experience and knowledge.
Again, I reckon it's going to be very, very interesting because Epsilon are just incredibly talented. Everyone knows who Swanee is now. Everyone knows Tommy is. Everyone knows My Cat and Josh are just like the duo. We know they can clutch it when they matter, and they have been the team in Europe. So everyone's going to be expecting them to do well. TCM, I just feel as if they're going to be a little bit of an underdog. A lot of people will be saying top 8, top 12, but I feel as if they might be able to sneak into the top 6. Epsilon, I'm guessing top 4, maybe pushing a 3rd place depending on what bracket they get. Let's go Team EU. Moving on to the second question. I'm going to quickly move on before I get loads of hate because, a lot of people like to hate on my ambitious views of the European scene. Let's just put it like that. But the second question is coming in from Sync_Vipers. I please hope I got your ad right because, I'm good at reading ads, I promise.
I didn't read out my ads, but yeah.
Because what would you like to...
that was?
Yeah, whoever that Benson guy was.
Yeah.
But what would you... Concentrate. What would you like to see in Advanced Warfare to make it a better game for competitive? I'm going to go stealth, because I believe Tommy answered the question first, and then me, and then Tommy. So
Well,
stealth,
actually,
me, Tommy.
Yeah, I answered the last question first.
Well, you can do it again.
Again. Favoritism. I'm not liking this. I quit.
I would like to see more of a balanced range in weapons. That's what I would like to see. But other than that, I love the maps. I love the game modes. I do like the abilities of the X-Wave movements and everything. But it's the weapons, I think, that are letting it down.
I was quite fortunate to see that question come up, and I wrote a whole page in capitals of this and put a box around it because I really wanted to talk about it. And from a spectator's point of view, obviously someone who spends the majority of his time commentating over COD, I've got to talk about Broadcaster, and I really want to touch on something what a lot of people have been touching about is a hardpoint hill timer. Something what I was saying since day one. I've seen it crop up every now and again on Reddit. I've seen a few pros tweet about it, and it's something what I feel is it from an analytical point of view and from a spectator's point of view, and even a pro's point of view, because if they're going to be looking for basically someone to pick up, they're wanting to know who's the best at jumping on the hill, who's best at holding that hill. So having a timer, and maybe replacing the captures, because captures, as important as it is, it doesn't tell a full story. If you have a hill timer what says 60 seconds, if you have a hill timer what says 1 minute 20, that makes you know how important a player is. So a player can go 7 and 40 for all I care, but if they've got 5-6 minutes on the hill,
you want them on your
he's in my team.
He's on my team, yeah. You've got someone that drops like a 50 bomb, but they've only been in the hill for like 20 seconds, if not that, if
they
not less. It basically determines, who is actually doing the OBJ. It's just like, CTF, maybe we could have the same with or even uplink of who holds the ball the most, or the drone, and the flag as well. But I agree with you. But I'm going to go with something completely different. So this is basically something that will make Call of Duty esports better or Advanced Warfare better?
Advanced Warfare, I think the question is.
Advanced Warfare. Oh, okay. If it's going to be Advanced Warfare, I think we should just get rid of Drift. Just get rid of Drift. Bring back Recovery. My baby's gone.
Shouldn't say that when I'm drinking, because I got my nose.
I'm sorry. My personal opinion is no. Just I understand why they've done it in a way. I think they've made Drift free, so that it doesn't actually. They're not being money horse, if you will. But I don't really care about DLC. The maps we had were pretty decent. I know Biolab was a bit iffy with the spawns, and the same with Ascend CTF, but they can be fixed. Putting in a map 2 or 3 or whatever weeks it was before champs is a bit like, why?
Yeah, I completely agree. As soon as I saw the announcement that Drift was being placed in, I just face popped so hard.
It's such bad timing in so many different aspects. It's just no.
Yeah.
Why?
I hate that. I hate it so much.
Yeah, moving on from the Drift hate, we kind of...
Sorry.
Some would say we drifted onto a topic.
Oh, that was stupid. Oh, no. Why would you do that?
I'm here all week, guys. I'm here all week.
No, he's not. He's really not.
If you follow Alex, please be, just go ahead and follow him now. Unfollow,
I'll follow him, then unfollow him. Yeah. He'll be like, oh, I've got all followers, and then they will unfollow him.
Yes, finally a follower now.
I've waited 2 weeks.
But, moving on from my depressingly low Twitter following, let's talk about the next question. Tommy, I believe you got it in front of you because of the questions. Please say you have.
Let me just get up. Yeah, I've got up. So, the question is coming in from Swag_LP, the long-supporting member of... Well, not the member of the STiKS, but he does support the STiKS, Paddy himself. He basically wants to know, where do you 3 see yourselves in half a year's time, e.g. casting and YouTube?
Tommy, to it first.
Oh God, you put me on the spot. Where do I see myself in half a year's time? In terms of obviously my YouTube, that's kind of where I've come from in the first place. I want to keep on growing. Definitely want to attend some lands. I've got if you've subscribed to me on YouTube, I've got a couple of announcements on the way, should we say. In terms of in esports, I would love to do some sort of analytics or presenting or something along them lines. It'd be absolutely awesome. But just in general, just keep on growing, meet personalities. I don't know why Rage is wetting himself. I don't know. I don't know what
I've just
seen.
seen the graphic what Gordy's made for stealth. And
Oh dear.
dead.
Okay, you're not.
In case
Oh
you know-
dear. Okay. Okay.
In case you didn't know, guys, in case you couldn't already tell, Stealth is, having a little bit of background moves. He's actually not in a club. He's like, dancing around. He's not
raving.
doing that. He's sitting in a Starbucks, being very like, Bisman-like, sitting there in his casted suit with his Starbucks coffee in the meeting.
On his
Can't quite get
4G
inside,
iPad.
He's a busy man, He's an international caster, so obviously as a result, he's always on his feet. So we kind of caught him in Starbucks. So that's why he hasn't got his webcam on, and that's why Goalie has graciously given him such a beautiful graphics.
Not gonna lie, I just got a little bit excited when you invited me on. I thought, oh mint, I'm gonna go out, buy a nice new suit, go to Starbucks and look like a poncy ass.
Well, Joel did it. Joel was there in his suit.
Joel
He was quite on the desk in that.
He
next
was,
to
to
me.
be fair.
Joel didn't even mean to. Joel's like, yeah, this is just. I've been to work. He's like,
This is normal.
we're here like in our pajamas. Like, oh, should we dress up a bit?
It's like,
Well,
this
no,
is
I'm
awkward.
a little bit disappointed. Alex actually didn't go ahead and wear his giraffe.
Well, I was gonna say that. I mean, like, I turned up to the show in my
Alex-
draft onesie. Joel was like in a suit, so I was like, should probably, make an effort.
Yeah.
But we should probably go into Swag LP's question rather than rambling
anyway.
on again, because we've been talking for ages.
This
So,
isn't all about
Tommy, what about you? You were talking about your YouTube and your
Yeah.
Intel announcement.
You just started laughing. I'm like, did I say something? Did I freeze again? Did I? And then I was just like, oh, that's why.
Oh, that
but,
link.
right, just to recap, because people kind of, interrupted rudely, I would say. I just want to keep growing, get involved in, esports, attend LANs, meet awesome people. If I get opportunities, I'll more than happily take them. I've always been kind of the person, I would always rather do something than not do it and regret it. So that's why I always stand by.
Nice.
Beautiful. Brought a tear to my eye. Stealth.
Did you ever think about writing poetry? That was beautiful.
No. I'm
Ah,
staying away from poetry. Sorry.
You should
I
become like a
apologise.
rapper instead.
A rapper.
Be
a rapper.
Stealth, moving on from you before I get like the image of Tommy rapping in my head.
Tommy E. That's his gangster name. Tommy E.
Can we move on? I'm gonna have nightmares.
Or Tom E.
No.
Stealth, what's your reply to Swag LP's question?
So where do I see myself in half a year's time? I see myself, possibly having a bit more LAN event experience under my belt. This whole year has been about growing my online presence. So, I set myself a few tasks about, getting 1,500 followers on Twitter, getting 200 followers on both my Twitch and my YouTube as well. So, in 6 months' time, I would like to have, been at least halfway through reaching those targets, and, having a bit more of a fan base, as you would, that's all I really want at the minute. Gain the experience in more LAN events, make my name for myself, grow online, and, have a few more fans.
Have a few more fans.
Yeah, grow that fan
Obviously,
base.
fans at LANs is like, okay, if you're all about the fans, that's cool.
I'm more fan, like,
I get what it means.
Yeah.
Followers. Let's just call it followers, if you will. But yeah, I understand you.
I want to be spotted more in the street like I was after Amateur Pro.
I've got a really funny story about that, but I'm not going to tangents. I'm not
That's
going
for
to tangents again. More tangents. But
So-
yeah, the thing is about me is half a year last year. So half a year later is September time. Last year, that was when I first went to EGL. That was in the end of July. And before that, I was a nobody. I mean, I'm still a nobody, but, I didn't go to a LAN. No one had a clue within the gaming community who I talk to nowadays. Had no idea who I was. I was just some random person who was part of a thing called the STiKS fam. And, fast forward in a year,
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'm here. I've casted...
Somehow,
yeah.
Somehow.
I've casted 3 events. Wow, yeah, 3 events. Bearing in mind, like, a year ago, I didn't. Like, July time, I've never cast an event before. I've got a few more coming up soon, what I really want to talk about, but I can't talk about what I'll be going to. So, that's just growth. That's just me, Intel, but that's just me, kind of developing. I just want to see that grow, I want to improve casting, because it's something what I've talked about before. It's something I genuinely enjoy doing. It's something what I genuinely want to see grow, esports in general. So the fact that I'm...
sorry to interrupt, would you like the cast off to become international?
No, it'd be too easy.
Oh, okay.
The ego.
I mean, Stealth's got to be
He's
in it,
only
so,
been around a year, and look
that's
at
the
this.
competition.
In half a year's time, you're going to have an ego bigger than blooming your height.
No, I'm joking. No, again, the cast-off was kind of thing what was started by Benson, but again, we're going to tangents here. Every time I try to talk, you try to divert me away.
I'm sorry. Stop.
But yeah, I just want to grow as a caster. I want to go to more lands as possible. I'll be 18 in July, so that opens up more opportunities, be it international casting and so on and so forth. I've always wanted to cast international. I was actually asked to go to an international event a couple of weeks ago. Really wanted to go to that. Unfortunately, obviously, because I'm too young and because of short notice, I couldn't go to that event. So
you need your parents' permission, don't you? And you just don't have that at the moment.
Well, I was going to just walk out the house with a stick.
He's like, Mum, I'm leaving. I'll come back in 5 minutes.
It's those sticks in the back of a little rucksack. I was going to do that and just leave home for a week.
Oh my
Lord. It's like, where you been? It's like, I've just been to America, Mum. It's like,
you don't realise.
It's like, I'm a little bit tanned, this pasty skin's gone a little bit, but
I don't know what you think America's like. I don't think it's sunny all the time,
Yeah,
compared to
very
UK,
much stereotyping kind of, Florida and, the Sunshine State, I think, but
yeah, again, it's like, casting in YouTube, I just want to grow YouTube. I've been a little bit slacking last week.
Haven't posted in a week.
Yeah, okay. Well, I was actually going to do a video tomorrow, so check that out. I'm joking. About
all the plants.
But no, sorry about that. I was just joking. You don't have to check it out if you don't want to. But yeah, I want to be a little bit more consistent about that. I want to grow on that. I'm trying to get gameplay, but I'm a perfectionist, so I don't want to, upload something what isn't the best.
Yeah, I wouldn't do gameplay.
Don't. You get slated either way.
If
you drop a 50 bomb, you're called a pub stomper. If you drop a 49 bomb, you're like, why is it not a 50 bomb?
Joke.
You can't win either way.
I just want to become better because every event I'm becoming a better caster. I mean, EGL. I watched my EGL VOD the other day and it was painfully embarrassing.
You may have to link me this.
Outro with Reedy.
It's painfully embarrassing, some mistakes what I made. I watched that, I took on board, and then at Ice Series, what was my second event, I improved significantly more. And then again, same thing happened with Ampty Pro. I watched my Ice Series VODs, I realised where I went horribly wrong, improved on that. So I'm seeing the progress, what I'm making. I just want to keep that up, go to some more events. And that was a really long-winded story of saying I want to cast some more. Anyway, next question is actually coming in from, I think it's actually going to be the last question as well, because we have talked ages and ages, and Goalie is getting tired because Goalie is basic god. The next question is coming in from Ryan Edwards. I hope I've got your right. I did put emphasis on the double S. In all seriousness, who can beat Optic Gaming?
No one.
No one? Oh.
No one. In my eyes, no one can beat them. They're too good a squad. But no, in full fairness, I think FaZe can if they step their game up. And I think TK are the most likely. TK.
So you're on about FaZe Red, yeah?
Yeah. TK are the most likely at this minute in time. Every time they've played each other, they have been so close games. But I think TK just need to just tweak it a little bit here and there, and they'll beat Optic.
Interesting.
What about you? Go on, Tommy. Rep the EU. No pressure.
I mean, it's a more kind of North American based question, I guess, because obviously, with the competition out there. But I mean, I want to say an EU team, but it's not going to happen. I think, being realistic, no EU team is going to beat Optic Gaming when they're on form, maybe on a serious off day, potentially, Epsilon and the TCM have the ability, but I just don't see it happening. I do kind of agree with you with TK. I think with TK, the deciding factor is Goonjar. He kind of, when he plays well, they do well. When he doesn't, they don't, kind of thing. But honestly, I don't think really anyone can, It's the situation where, you have to outslay Optic Gaming, and with them having, arguably some of the best slayers in the game, it's very hard to do. We've seen it done very few times, and especially in a double elimination bracket, it's like the old complexity. It's like, you may be able to beat them once, but can you beat them twice? So from that instance, I don't think it's going to happen at Call of Duty Championships.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, Optic really needs, they need to be physically and mentally not in the right state to not win that tournament. That Crimsic's hand just drops off magically before they play in their first round. I mean, that's the only reasonable thing I can actually think about not winning the game, not winning the tournament at this stage. But I feel as if them being the heavy favourites could play to their favour. They might develop a little bit of not really arrogance, but ego, a word what everyone likes to use. Maybe just kind of going into it, overlooking some of the lesser known teams, overlooking some of the European teams, looking over the Australian teams. That's not what everyone has to look at last year. You know, Australian teams came out of nowhere. T1 does placed like top 4 or top 6, so that's the reason why you don't underestimate anyone. And I feel as if that's probably the only way Optic Nation could maybe get knocked down to losers, if you know they underestimate one of the top teams who maybe aren't quite known, and then you know they just have a bad day. But realistically, no one can beat Optic Gaming unless Optic Gaming beat themselves.
Oh, deep.
I can agree with that. I think the only way, just to touch on it quickly, the only way I see Optic Gaming really breaking up is obviously with personality clashes. You know, I think they're all very driven players. They're all experienced, even formal, even though it hasn't been around for so long. But I don't want to go into too much because this is obviously the STiKS EU, and I don't want to hate.
Well, what's America? What's the American scene?
Never.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
No, I'm not going to go there. I was going to say something, and then I realised that people might actually believe me, and I was like, no.
Oh,
No.
Let's just move on.
Yeah. So anyway, we're coming to the end of the show. That's all the questions we had from Twitter, guys. As per usual, as we do the show, we always give the guest and the co-host and the hosts, say co-host, we're all co-hosts, we kind of give them 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how much you want to ramble and how friendly you're feeling, to kind of close out the show, kind of give, affiliations within the community, any shouts if you want them, and so on and so forth.
I'd like another story about
or another embarrassing story.
No
pressure,
any other stories, just put them out there.
Yeah, so I'm going to let you think about that. So I'm going to actually throw it over to Tommy first to go for his 30 to a minute moment of glory. Then Stealth, I'm expecting a legendary story from you, and then Al goes off the show. So no pressure, Tommy, over to you.
Okay, so yeah, thank you as always for watching. It's obviously a bit of a bummer that we couldn't stream this because Twitch is just not on form today, shall we say. Massive shout out to Scump, my long lost twin, apparently. And something that I might just put out there, the fact that I'm probably going to be at ESWC this year, but yeah, I think I'll leave that there.
Cheeky.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, that's it. I'm going to leave it there.
Okay, Stealth, over to you.
So we want a funny story, yeah?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Oh dear.
So you two already know this one, but for those viewers that don't, I was once on the ESR, but for all the wrong reasons. With the European...
I was wondering where he's going with this.
Yeah. The European regional qualifications were done, obviously, a couple of weeks before the actual LAN event. And I entered a team to play in it last minute, basically 10 minutes before the sign-ups closed. I picked up a team and we're like, yeah, you know what, let's go.
May as well. You've got nothing to lose.
So we went into it. We actually got through to the third round, which was quite unexpected.
That's basically winning the $1 million.
That's better than what Rage would do. So I'm proud of you.
So I was excited until we saw who we had to play. We had to play Epsilon in the third round. And it was being live streamed on the Gfinity channel. Not only this, but with it being a week before Amateur Pro event, I was going to be casting alongside Rel, who was also casting my game on Gfinity.
So he's just laughing.
So
he's just wet himself.
The thing is, I'm thinking on my head like, I know where this is going. I was sitting there eating my popcorn, knowing where this is going. So
I thought,
the hardpoint game, we had retreat hardpoint. We lost 250 to 15.
That was not me got killed, right?
I actually finished top of the table for my team.
Oh, okay, that's something.
I went 14 and 25. Okay, I'll take that as quite gracious. I was the only one on my team to actually hit double figures.
For real?
Yeah, we went into solar S&D. We lost that one 6-0, and I went 006. No, I went 006. I didn't even get a kill.
Fair enough.
Yep. Roll made sure you remembered that.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever going to let that. Like, it doesn't matter if you become rich and famous. Like, yeah, but do you remember that? That Gfinity, EU regional qualifier.
006.
006.
It was basically that.
At least it wasn't 007.
I got ripped apart. Not only on the Gfinity live stream, but on the AXR where Bryce purposely put my VOD up on the ASR to be shown to the people.
No!
So he purposely put it
stitched you up
and ripped me to pieces with fence.
It was amazing.
Just destroyed me. So basically, that was the end of my career, and I don't think I'll ever be casting again.
Sorry, you will. You will.
Yeah,
Tell?
I think that deserves
Tell?
a round of applause.
Tell?
I'm just, oh, that was mind blowing.
I mean, it's a little bit longer than a minute, so I'm
Right,
just creating.
let's
I'm taking
wrap
away
this up
more.
with rage. Let's just wrap this up with rage.
Guys, thanks for watching. Thank you for Stealth, the Starbucks Slayer, the SSS, for turning off the show. Thought of that on my head. I'm a genius. The SSS, also known as Stealth Starbucks Slayer. Thanks for coming on the show, Growly. Thanks a lot for your graphics and making Stealth look like a Starbucks bat or whatever.
It's a ninja.
Yeah, it looks like a bat. And moving on, guys, make sure you use all the important codes. You want a Scuff gaming controller, make sure you use the code STiKS for 5% off. Great controller, great code, use it. The Kingdom code for G Fuel to get 10% off that as well. Guys, thanks a lot for having me. My name is Alex, also known as iRage. Twitter will be somewhere, I guess, maybe not. And
Probably on the
yeah,
overlay.
we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.